This is the TrWn Ashenzari. Really, it could be any kind of troll, and you'd pretty much play it the same way. Except for, I suppose, a troll Chaos Knight. So, this game could be taken as a way to play just about any troll start. Although there are some unique things about it. We're more inclined to use magic on this guy than we would be on almost any other troll, on account of the fact that we took Ashenzari. And you know, if I were to look at my base skill by pressing underscore here, well, I can't do it right now because I, if you recall, when I ended the last stream, I used my last remove curse to switch on these very good rings. So right now we don't actually have any bonus, but I assure you, our skills would be amazing if we, our skills would be amazing if only we had a little bit more curse on our jewelry. But that's okay. We can, you know, we are getting some benefit as well from having our shield cursed from 6.2 skill to 9.0 skill, and that is a lot. When you have a -2 aptitude, that's an enormous amount of experience you're saving. Sorry if you hear a lot of water drinking asthma on this stream, but I'm trying to stay hydrated. Good thing to do if you don't want to catch the old COVID or the Chinese virus, as I've heard some people call it. Alrighty, so let's what should we do here? Let's take a look at which branches we want to go to. As I recall, last time we finished Lair, and we got to D9 as well. We're worshipping Ashenzari, so we're not going to have to worry about traps. So I feel really safe about exploring the rest of dungeon. On top of that, I have an amazing amount of MR now. So that means I doubly feel safe. Even though there could be big magic resistance threats like wizards and other things in the dungeon, I don't really care. On other characters, though, that do not have the good fortune to have found so much MR, you might see me go directly into a lair branch like Swamp, perhaps. Just kind of depends on what you find, how powerful you are. Ooh, that is a 2-headed ogre. We'll curare him. He's slowed, now I'll melee him. If he does big damage to me, I can just walk away. He did big damage to me, but he can't one-shot me. 2-headed ogres can do about 75. We don't have armor yet, so that's not really reduced if he does hit me. But I do have a shield, so I'm very unlikely to take all of his attacks, you know. Alright, this gargoyle is a big deal. His stone arrow can do something like, I want to say 40 damage. We can always look him up, though, just by doing this in chat if you have Seam or Meme or Beam. So 3d12, 12, 24, 36 max damage. I have enough hit points that I'm just going to walk up and beat his ass and he goes down. These necrophages are easy to kill. If he hits me, which he didn't, he could rot me, which means that my max hit points goes down. But it's no big deal because we would just drink like a curing potion or a healing potion and get rid of that. I'll just kind of tab through this stuff. Anything that's easy, I don't really need to talk about that much. I will say that this stuff is like quote-unquote easy, but this is a Halberd of Freezing on this dude. 8 plus a +4 Halberd of Freezing. Halberd does, you know, 13 damage, and then you're looking at some cold damage on top of that. So this stuff could do an okay amount of damage to me. So we are going to take it in a hallway. Just as simple as not being surrounded by it. Really, really basic tactics, really. Just pulling things into a hallway is the simplest thing you can do in DCSS to improve your tactical situation, but it's really, really effective. So here's a great example of a vault I probably wouldn't want to go in under normal circumstances at this point. There's a vampire who can confuse me, but I am straight up immune to that, not just because of my MR, but because Ashenzari eventually gives you clarity. This ghost looks like he's easy enough to kill. He only does 12 damage and has a pretty low amount of hit points. 58's not that much. for this character who's hitting with his claws for an enormous amount of damage, so we just kill all this stuff. Sometimes there's an actual shop in here, but these are just abandoned shops. Gozag themed. It's actually a good time for me to take a look at some of this stuff. Let's go to D5. See, I'm pressing Control O, right, to get to this, and there'll be these annotations that automatically show up and go away if you were to explore this stuff. But as long as you haven't opened the doors and killed this stuff, then it's going to show up on Control O. That's the dungeon overview, and so I know that I haven't cleared this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and do that because, I mean, look at this ghost. He's got Sandblast. I don't care at this point. I cared a lot earlier because I had no shield. I didn't have that much in the way of hit points. You know. This was that fake out with the fake sewer here and the real sewer over here. Kind of fun. Okay, likewise, there's something on D3. I want to say this was like a Disto brand kobold, so I may still not want to do this. What do you think about this? I might have to use resources to get out of this situation if it goes badly. We'll probably be fine though. We're level 14, so even if we went to the Abyss, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I just wouldn't like it very much. Check it out. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open this up. Okay, and so the guy with the Disto weapon is not next to me, so I don't need to be worried. I do need to be worried about this Curare dart, I guess. What we're gonna do is we're going to actually, and this is probably something I should probably not have engaged with this, but I'm just gonna try to paralyze him, and I fail. That's okay. We're gonna back off, and this stuff kind of, you know, the ghost is gonna get in front of the kobold because the ghost has more hit dice, you know, even though he's a big kobold. And then I may end up having to use some resources, unfortunately. This guy has good evasion. Check out something I can do. I could use Curare darts, and it's not exactly guaranteed to go past the ghost, but pretty good chance. So now we have a Curare big kobold. I really don't want to give that thing a chance to hit me with a short sword of distortion. So I'm trying to be careful to not let that happen. Alright, the ghost has blinked. This is a great time for me to just do some damage to this thing. Let's disintegrate him. He takes damage, he doesn't die. Very interesting. We're gonna make a box of beasts. Alright. Put a guy between me and him. If need be, I can always blink out of this or fear out of this, although obviously I'd rather not waste the resources. Alright, this guy's next to me now. He could definitely send me to the Abyss next turn. I'm going to run the risk, though, only because I'm already about level 15. Level 15 is about where you don't need to be super duper afraid of the abyss. But with that said, I'm gonna net this guy. I failed. I'm just gonna attack him, and he'll probably die before anything happens. So that's what you might call an unnecessary risk, honestly. But I get an ID scroll out of this, which I didn't really need. Mostly I just wanted to clear that off of my dungeon overview. In a game where I was playing with, you know, 100% safety, you would not have seen me go in here until I was probably like 5 levels higher. But I'm a troll with like 143 hit points, and I'm a huge threat in melee, you know. So even if I got sent to the Abyss, we probably would have been fine. Anyway, let's go finish out dungeon. Another thing is we did have, you know, 9 scrolls of 9 stacks of teleport scrolls, so that's really useful to have if you do get sent to the Abyss. Sort of an unnecessary problem to take the risk on, though, so don't do that. Anyway, we'll finish dungeon now. Hand Axe of Electrocution. Always be aware of what your enemy has. If we didn't have Aralek, that could be really risky, but as it stands, because we have Aralek, the hand axe does, the electricity does 0 damage to us. Just kind of blocks the brand. Alrighty, there's a lightning rod available, and there are 3 boxes of beasts. I'm actually going to buy all these boxes of beasts. We're going to ignore the tremor stones. That's a wacky trunk item that I expect may not make it into the actual game past trunk. I'd like this lightning rod, to be honest, but we don't really need it right now, and we're pretty likely to find another one. I will spend money on this disintegration, though. Could be useful still. I'd like to train more evocations. Let's take that to 5. That'll go up with Ashenzari's help once we recurse some rings, which is going to require some remove curse. But I'm going to assume that I won't find that for a while, so that means it's time for me to... I'll even take that to 10, you know. It's time for me to raise that a bit. Alright, this is a white ugly thing. We have RC plus from that robe, but they still hit pretty hard, so I'm going to take the time to... curare him, and then we'll melee him to death. Curare is just really nice, you know, it's just really, really good against some enemies that otherwise could be something of a risk to you. And at this point in the game, you shouldn't really be stingy with your curare darts, because they, you know, they're a really good resource for this point in the game, but they're not so good that you should try to hoard them. I want this hat. This could be something good. If you recall, we're wearing a +1 hat of See Invisible right now, but we already get See Invisible from worshipping Ashenzari. So, you know. Just kill all this stuff. I might have been a little worried about the shadow doing good damage to me, except for the fact that, you know, I can see invisible so he doesn't get his extra damage. This could be really ugly. Snorg is a unique. He's a troll. He can berserk and do a ton of damage to me, basically. So what we're going to do is we found a cloud wand. Let's just use that. Now he's going to be turbo poisoned, basically. And what I also could do is I could try to paralyze him. 23% chance, not very high. I could vulnerability scroll and then poison, and then paralyze him, which would work a lot better. But honestly, I think instead, I think we're just going to try to kill him, basically. Let's just, let's just acid wand. Actually, no. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll curare him. There we go. Now he's slow. Now we'll just attack him. He has a chance to use this Berserker Rage every turn, but he might not use it at all. I will say a little bit of a warning: if you were to curare him or slow him through some other means, I believe that unfortunately, if you were to do that and he were to berserk, it would actually take the slow away, in addition to giving him the normal haste of being berserked. So that's definitely, as far as I know, not how the player berserk works, but just something to be aware of. So I would have had to have curaried him again, or just sort of swung and hoped that he died. He dropped a +3 troll leather armor. That's going to make us, believe it or not, significantly more defensive. We lose 1 point of EV because it's heavier armor, but we gain 4 points of AC. We lose RC+, which kind of sucks, but I'd rather have the armor. And also, we regenerate more. Alright, here's a pretty tough enemy. High damage, anyway. You know, if I look at a Deep Elf Mage, that's an enemy that's supposed to show up in the Elven Vaults, or the Elven Halls. And that's a place that's below Orc, which we haven't even been to yet. They can do about, let's say, 51 damage to you per turn, various energy types. They don't have very good MR, but still, because my Evokes is so low, it's only a 39% chance to paralyze him. So I tried to disintegrate instead, just to get damage, and we've got like a 65% chance for that to work, and it failed. So we're just going to melee him and kind of see what happens. Once they do something... Hey, Naughty Badger. You can beat him. Just grug. Alright. Once they do something, you can see what spell they cast. In this case, Bolt of Lightning, and that narrowed down his book to being the Bolt of Lightning book. So we'll just We'll just beat him up. Because we have our Lex, so I'm not afraid of that at all. Is that really that entire book is just Lightning Bolt and Blink? Wow. I feel like they had more before in that book, maybe not. Okay, we'll Curare this ogre, this two-headed ogre, rather. And we'll just use poison darts. And then we'll just tab him. Easy business. Okay, Torch says hold tab. Have I tried to Zerk? This character does not have the ability to berserk. No Zerk items. That's another one of these guys. We'll preemptively slow him with the Curare just to be sure. If we didn't have Curare, we would still try to melee him, but it'd be a little bit riskier. Are you wrong? In this case, that pretty much works, but I mean, it's probably best even on a troll to slow down a bit against those enemies because it can go bad so quickly. All right, we pulled this dude up because, you know, same reason as with the other ugly thing, they can just do good damage. This guy we're just gonna kill. Demonologists can make little demons, but he dies real fast. Holding tab can never go bad. Book of Cantrips, we found some spells I don't particularly care about. Corona's okay, but not really worth me casting. I do have these spells, though. I almost forgot. Alright, so this is a lair monster that can show up in other places occasionally, but mainly just lair. He breathes this gas on you, which will turn you to stone if you stay in it, so we're going to walk away. We're going to fight him. He does 36 damage, so he does hit like a truck. We could Curare him because he's not resistant to poison. You can actually get other enemies inside of the clouds, and they will get petrified, although the Catoblepus is immune. We're going to throw Curare at him. Anytime he breathes the dust on us, we simply step out. And then I just keep darting him. Now I melee him and he dies. Now if you find him a bit earlier, he may simply be too much for you to take. Like if you were to find a Catoblepus on layer 1, many characters will have a problem. Yeah, good luck calling your ISP. I hope you enjoy the hour-long wait times that you're probably going to have to deal with. I had to call up some people for customer service today, and they wanted to act like the coronavirus was a good excuse for them having those wait times, and I'm thinking, like, what is the best possible job to have during a during this kind of problem? And I'm thinking it's got to be phone service. Like, of course you can do that job from home. So I have just no patience. All right, so I kind of screwed up here. When I saw all this crap, I should have backed off, and instead now I'm here. So I have a couple options. I mean, most of the stuff is not very deadly, but there is some good damage available. We could use a digging wand to make a hallway. Honestly, I think that's the right choice. However, I don't want to waste my digging. I could use clouds to just kill all this stuff. That'd be okay. I could just like melee and hope that it works out, which probably would be fine. We can always like vamp drain to get some hit points back. Let's just try that, and if it starts to go badly... we'll just kill the toughest stuff first, you know. If it starts to go badly, we'll go and make a kill hole or something. This is all garbage, except for the troll and the red ugly thing, which we already killed. The mosquitoes, I guess, are very fast, and they do hit for 13 damage. And our AC is not exactly amazing. I would probably have taken more care here, I think, if I hadn't found that troll leather armor. Toneheck, this is a little bit of both. This is going to go up on the site as a tutorial. It's going to be kind of a generic troll tutorial. It's a troll wanderer, but the reality is that pretty much every troll is played more or less the same way, and the way that they vary is which god you find first, and kind of which items you find, I guess, but for the most part, you're just going to hit things with claws, so it's actually a nice starter character. What are Wanderers about? Wanderers get, well, I kind of picked Wanderer 1 because it was requested, and 2 kind of to demonstrate that it didn't matter what I got, because Wanderers will, I'm going to drop this whip, Wanderers will basically get random stuff when they start, and random skills when they start. And so it's actually a pretty great start for a troll, because the troll just doesn't care. We happen to start, I think, with the Wand of Enslavement and a Curing Potion. So, we actually had a pretty good Wanderer start, but you can also be screwed over, you know. This guy could have started with spells or something, which would have been kind of a waste on a troll, but nevertheless, we have our big boy claws to solve such problems. Also, how are you doing, Tone? Welcome to the stream. It's an 8-headed Hydra. We've actually been casting spells on this dude, like Conjure Flame. Okay, I kind of messed up. I shouldn't have dropped my dagger, because I can't claw this dude without cutting heads off. So we're just going to use the Wand of Flame on him. Ouch. He should die. There we go. And it is indeed a little bit risky for me to be in melee with a 8-headed Hydra, because, I mean, I do have guaranteed damage reduction now, but it's not very much, because my AC is not very high. Well, Wizard Roll makes me think that you start with spells every time, but that's not the case with Wanderer. Although, I don't know, I haven't played NetHack, so I don't know. Does slow help against Hydras? Yeah, but we were not super likely to land a slow on him because my spell power is crap. It would be significantly better if I could curse my my rings here and enjoy Ashenzari's benefits, but that hasn't happened yet. Identify some stuff. We have Holy Word, we have Lignify. Alright. Not bad. Let's tab through these kind of non-threats. Things that are difficult earlier in the game, but not so much now. Watch out for these electric eels. If you don't have Aurelec, they can do quite a bit of damage to you. I want to say that the electrical bolt does up to 13 damage, but they can also bounce it off of a wall to do double. 3d6, actually 18, 6, 12, 18. So, something you could do is use like a Wand of Flame on them, and it'll make steam on their location, because that's what happens when Wands of Flame touch water. It's a non-melee caster still, I see. Starts with a ton of random magic items, and can start with a bunch of terrible stuff, or game-winning stuff. So you're saying that you can start scum with it. I would say that Wanderer is not... you'll never get something that's just going to automatically be so good that it wins you the game, even in the late game, but you can get stuff that will get you past the hardest part of the game, which is the early game. Although, if you really wanted to do that, you could just play an Artificer. Alright, check this out. I'm going to use Wand of Flame on this guy. It makes steam all over the place. We use Conjure Flame. He's not really following me. Let's pull him after shouting. Now we make a Conjure Flame here. Switch to the dagger and melee him. He only had 4 heads, so that's only 18 times 4 damage possible per turn, and significantly less than that in reality, since I am going to block some attacks, most likely guaranteed to get some amount of damage reduction. Oh, careful about this. There's a water elemental, and he is engulfing me. So the only thing I can do is attack or walk away. I can't use scrolls or anything right now because I'm drowning. I can't use god abilities. I'm effectively silenced. We can just kill him though. If you walk away from him, the engulf ends. Although if you're near water, be careful because you'll walk slowly through the water depending on your race, or if you're flying. Yeah, we have a ton of Box of Beasts. It's pretty incredible. 5 of them, and then a sack of spiders as well. Those are really good items. There's a really sweet pair of gloves, but we can't use them because I have big nasty troll claws. Whoa! I should not walk right up to this dude. Well, he can't one-shot me, and we are immune to his paralyze, so let's try to go for the kill and see what he's got. Okay, he dies. Yeah, so Ogre Mages, there is a chance they have LCS, which does an incredible amount of damage. If that had gone badly, I may have had to have used a... Oh, I don't have a silence scroll. I would have, I guess, had to have blinked or something. Crystal Spear, they can do up to 80, what is that? 84 damage. Pretty dangerous stuff. Tab through this stuff. These little Volt Guards, you can think of them just as big Orc Warriors. Not too risky for this guy. We're going to keep getting intelligence, because it does seem like we're going to be casting spells here and there. This is where the Neo Conjure Flame sucks ass, because he just smothers the flame, instead of me being able to place it between me and him. So I will just blink. I'll make another one. I'll make another one. Oop, I failed. Okay, we'll just melee him with the dagger. I have not actually trained any short blades, you know, but it's a +9 dagger, and the Conjure Flame is what's doing the most damage. This mage is still another lightning bolt mage, so kill him easily since we have our Arlek. Watch out for these dudes. If I were to tab into them, they would merge together. Each one can do 21 or 22 damage by itself, but if they don't have you know, room to spread out and attack you, they will merge, and then they'll do double, triple, quadruple, etc. damage based on how many have merged. And eventually you're looking at like 100 damage per turn. Or 110, which, as you can imagine, is no good. Alrighty, mainly this. That is a wolf spider zombie. Let's see if we can't Curare this dude. It works. Poison, poison. I am aiming at, if I aim like this, there's a chance that even if it misses the ogre, it'll hit that centaur. So that's an optimal thing to do. You know what? I don't trust this. There's a lot of damage from the two-headed ogre. There's a lot of damage possible from this ogre mage. Let's get the hell out of here. And go down a different staircase. There's another ogre mage. This is the kind of late dungeon threat you really want to be careful of if you don't have enough MR. Because one of his books, he can paralyze you. But we have tons of MR, so we're just going to Curare him. And we're just going to... Oh god. He's got the Haste Other book. I know this because while I couldn't see the two-headed ogre when he did it, I see that the ogre is hasted. So he's definitely got the Crystal Spear book with Haste Other. He just bolted fired me, proving me correct. Why don't we see what we can do with this Wand of Flame? I just want to kill him. I will Curare. That'll counteract the haste. Do I have any kind of... Yeah, I have acid. Check it out. We're going to acid here. And the idea is I wanted to kill the mage. That's great. Now we'll go up. The zombie will not follow me. We will kill the two-headed ogre. Now, I don't want to be getting hit by several two-headed ogres at the same time, so we go down a different staircase. This Harpy zombie is being annoying. We're going to pull this Hydra up. We're going to blink. This is one of those reasons why those low-level spells can be incredibly useful. Oh no, guys, blink is a no-brainer. Better take it out of the game. Oh man. Go back down the same staircase. There wasn't really much around it except for that zombie. Okay, let's throw Curare. It hits this unseen horror who would be invisible all the time except for the fact that we have Send. Pull this one guy up. I think we'll just melee him. Should be fine, yeah. Now that there's a two-headed ogre by that staircase, we're going to go to a different one. Enough time has passed that the stuff was likely to have moved away from the staircase. Curare. Curare. be aware, this guy showed up with a wand of polymorph, but I'm not worried. I know he can't really do anything to me. Whoa, hello. That is a manticore. So, why am I not afraid of the polymorph? It's because I have too much MR for it to affect me. I am afraid of the manticore because he could sort of stop me from moving. So I wanted to fight him by himself. He can throw barbs at me, and if he hits me, it does damage. And makes me take more damage if I try to move while the barbs are in me. So, he is speed 10. He's not fast. So despite the fact that he's a relatively tough monster for the dungeon, I do think it's fair because of how you can just kind of walk away from them as long as you catch them at full range. And even if you don't, you can always do things like teleport. It's not bad. I'm dropping some stuff. I have enchant armor, and this is where things get really interesting because it's like, should I go ahead and use it? Should I use it on this troll leather armor? I'm gonna guess, you know, we may or may not find dragon armor at any point, but we know this troll leather armor is good enough for me to survive in it for a very long time, probably forever if I end up going for the stat form play, assuming I find that. Another school of thought is to enchant your ox slots first, so things like hats, things like cloaks. I definitely don't want to enchant the hat, actually, because there's a hat available in a shop. Why don't we go buy that and see what it is? Okay, it's a +2 hat. So that's already max enchanted. Hats only go to +2. I'm going to wear that instead of the See Invisible, and the reason is, of course, that Ashenzari is already giving me See Invisible. There's no reason to stack that. Still leaves me at my original thing of, like, what do I use this enchant armor on? Do I use it on the cloak? Do I use it on the troll leather? I think I'm just going to wait, honestly. Because this character's doing fine. And so I can... Whoa! Hello! I shouldn't have walked towards him. I am capable of dying right now, actually. Yep, he's playing a little too fast there. This guy has Crystal Spear, 3d28 damage. So 84 damage times 2 is more than my hit points, and he could very well act twice. Really, really ugly stuff, you know. I only have one blink scroll. So this is a big problem. I should have... You know what? We're gonna just cast Blink. You miscast, he attacks me twice. Damn, dude. Blink again. Okay, this is really, really bad. Now he's way more likely to be able to kill me. I'm gonna burn my Blink. We'll get away from him. We'll read Teleport. Notice that Crystal Spear has a really bad range, 3 range. This is 100% my fault for foolishly not noticing he was hasted before I approached, or really just not noticing a wizard was on the table. So we just burned a Blink, and that sucks horribly because, well, we only had one Blink scroll, so I feel much less safe. However, he can't kill me now because I Curari'd him. So even though he's hasted, he's also slowed, so he's not taking actions as quickly. He can only do, like I said, 84 damage per Crystal Spear. Let's kill these guys. Let's pull this guy up. Very lively D15. Centaurs are, in fact, one of the strongest races in the game, Desert. They're just sort of annoying to play. They have terrible defenses, which they pay for, which is their payment for having such a high movement speed, you know? It's funny, these Curari darts are really amazing versus these enemies that can do big damage with spells because it's making them take actions much, much slower. But even so, you know, it's good to be careful. Is that him? Yeah, that's him. Okay, we'll Curari him. Remember, we don't have our C right now, so that Bolt of Cold could be doing a lot more damage to me. We will Curari him, we'll fail. We'll Curari him, we'll fail. He's too close now, so I go to a different staircase. I'm a little hurt, so we'll rest. There's our boy. He's hasting. We'll go ahead and use a teleport in case this gets really bad. Curare. Just gonna let the teleport kick in. This is the most obnoxious wizard of all time. He is he's doing a real good job of not getting Curara'd when I need him to get Curara'd. I feel totally safe to just walk up and beat his ass if he's Curara'd, because then you'd have to roll really high twice in a row. Honestly, what I should do is I should just make a box of beasts preemptively, a couple of them. We'll just use allies to kill him. They can only wear special centaur armor. You're referring to barding, and that's to replace the boot slot. They can actually wear regular armor too. However, they only get half the AC out of the base AC. Enchantment counts for full, though. So it seems like they have really low AC until you find the barding. Okay, well this is not where the wizard is hiding, so I kind of wasted those box of beast uses, but we didn't actually use up any boxes, so that's fine. I feel pretty confident about just fighting this stuff. Try to do it only one at a time, though. That was a shapeshifter, that's why he was a Spriggan, and then a Harpy, and then a Salamander. Do not need a +2 Ring of Evasion. Wow, do we have... Wow, we just found a 3-stack of Holy Word. That's fancy. Alrighty. Box of Beasts. Shout, get his attention. Order this thing to attack. Please actually work. Okay, he is in fact slowed now. Box of Beasts is generating a thing that is only a juvenile Fire Weird beast, but is still very, very strong. Hitting for up to 19 damage and then constricting as well. And also has a Fire Breath that almost killed him by itself. So that was a good use of resources. The only bad use of resources on this floor really was the Blink Scroll, and that was because I put myself into a situation I didn't need to be in just by playing too fast. But that's okay. We finished dungeon. We really didn't have to be all the way down here. Honestly, in retrospect, it would have been better if I had simply not done D15. That's sometimes the choice you want to make. Seeing enemies like wizards, you know, is a good sign that you really need to be careful. And you notice, like, I talked about being afraid of them due to magic resistance reasons, but as you can see, there's reasons other than that to be concerned about that enemy. No, Wesley, you arrived somewhere close to the beginning. How you doing, man? We were just doing dungeon real quick. Just talking about the joys of dealing with wizards. Welcome to the stream. Alrighty, so Swamp, Spider Nest. Like, if I press Control O, I can kind of see which things I've done. You know, 15 out of 15, I've seen the whole dungeon. 6 out of 6, I've seen the whole lair. Still not using large rocks. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with it because we've gone more for evocations this game. And I don't want to bother to train throwing, and with the large rocks, it's going to take a really long time to throw them without much throwing skill. I'm not saying it's a bad item. You know, if I look at large rock, looks like 5 have spawned just now. This is something that only trolls and ogres can throw. And they have a base damage of huge, you know, 20 base damage. So it's a great item to use, but I've already trained some evocations, and yeah, the aptitude is worse, but under Ashenzari, this is going to get a boost once I get my rings recursed. I just don't have that much experience to go around. I would really rather put it into things like fighting, unarmed combat, dodging. It might behoove me, actually, to start training some armor now. And the reason is that suddenly I have some base AC, right? From this troll leather armor. But not very much. So until I find a dragon armor, I don't think I'm going to bother, because we may very well end up in statue form, even though our troll is real dumb and real unlikely to have an easy time getting to that point. You know, the reality is we may not find a dragon armor, so we're gonna wait and see if we find a decent dragon armor first. In Swamp, which is where we're gonna go, there are swamp dragons, but their armor is not that great, honestly. It's okay, but I wouldn't really call it something you'd want to be in for the whole game. Although you could be. Dragon Armors give you some kind of resist usually. So in the case of Swamp Dragon Armors, they give you our Poise, which I in fact already have from this awesome ring. Our Poise is something you really want to have if you're in Swamp. There are things like Swamp Drakes in here, which can confuse you with their breath unless you have our Poise. Swamp Dragons can do a ton of damage to you if you don't have our Poise. Likewise, Spider Nest has a lot of poison damage, but I decided to go into Swamp instead of Spider because Spider overwhelms you with a lot of high damage, small creatures at the same time, and shields are very bad at blocking lots of things attacking you at the same time, and our main defense right now is our SH. If I had like a really heavy dragon armor, I may have even gone into Spider first, but I don't. So we go to Swamp. That's going to be our first lair branch. What we're going to do is we're going to use Shroud of Galubria, wait a turn, go up, and I'm just going to pull this Hydra up. We've killed Hydras before, it's no big deal. There will be Hydras in the Swamp, of course. And we're just gonna blink away from him. We're gonna fail. We're gonna blink away from him. We're gonna fail again. Finally, we get one. We're going to Conjure Flame. We miscast it. Whoops. I'll blink away from him. Trying to pull him into kind of a 1-by-1 hallway type situation, you know, of which there admittedly are not too many in the lair. Hey, there we go. Wait a couple turns. Do it again. There we go. I'll wear this dagger. He steps in, and then we just beat him up. Whoa! Big damage there. A little bit risky, but not too bad. Alright, we're going to drag these dudes up. They do a ton of damage, 35, but they are slow. Unless they're in water. So if we want, we can actually do pretty much the same strategy. Of course, Neo Conjure Flame is really, sadly, as I said, nerfed, so if I keep miscasting so many times, it's going to be really freaking annoying. Look at that, miscast. 36% fail rate. I could train more, but I mean, honestly, I just like I don't need to. Alright, so he finally steps in, we kill him, the other one steps in, we kill him. Very cool. And unlike the Hydra, I don't need to switch off of my claws, because I don't need to worry about heads getting chopped off. I'm going to be real happy when I find some more Remove Curse so I can get my my Ashenzari bonus back and stop having such a miscast rate. Alright, so we'll tab this stuff. The Wisps are really easy. Technically their Static Discharge can do okay damage to you, but I have RLX, so don't need to worry about it. Likewise, these Mosquitoes are not going to do much to me. My defenses are just quite good. Well, they're not quite good, but they're quite good versus an enemy like that. Spriggan Rider we can just kill. He's a pretty strong guy, but if he's by himself, we're likely to block his attacks. Spiny Frogs are now a joke to us, even though they were really dangerous in the last session. Beware of Swamp Worms, because the Harpoon Shot can do, I want to say 36 damage. Let's make sure. 2d13, 13, 26, 39 damage. It can also pull you towards the worm. And as I mentioned, I think last session, anything that can deposition you or stop you from moving, put you where you don't want to be, anything like that, is very dangerous in this game. I don't want him to pull me. I would actually, I think, get blocked by the deep water, and that would make me take more damage, but it would pull me like right here-ish. Also, there's a Shambling Mangrove, which if you've seen any of my other streams, you know exactly how dangerous those are. Whoa, I just got pulled. Just gonna melee this stuff. So, the Mangrove didn't really follow, which is great. Oh, there he is. We're gonna go up, we're gonna rest, we're gonna come back down, and here's the Mangrove. Now, this is probably the most dangerous enemy inside of Swamp, and the reason is because he has this Grasping Root spell, which is effectively the same thing as the player's Vile Clutch spell, which is very, very overpowered. He also hits for 41 damage, and if you do damage to him, he may start pooping out hornets, which is dangerous because they can paralyze you. Despite the fact that he is a tree man, he's not vulnerable to fire. Saving grace, however, is that he's slow, so he'll take less actions than you. This would be a great place to have large rocks, I guess, if I had trained a little bit of throwing, but that's okay that we don't. What we're going to do is we're going to animate dead. Oh, 52% chance of failure without my Ashenzari. Never mind. We're going to make a box of beasts. We got a mature shock ox beast. Hell yeah. Training this evocations is working out for me. I can't curare this thing. Wouldn't it be nice if we could slow him? He's resistant to poison, so that's not going to work. So the issue, like, why am I not just walking up to him and beating him up? The reason is because if he constricts me and then starts pooping out hornets and then the hornets hit me and I get paralyzed, I'm then taking 41 damage per turn from him. And I have no shields and I have no evasion and I'm just basically dying. So it's kind of a really dangerous wombo combo. So what I want to do is I want to make another box, beast box guy, and then one more, just evoking these. Order them to attack. I am being constricted. He did it to me, so I'm taking damage every turn, and if I try to move, it might fail. Now, what I could do is I could take a step, and it succeeded, and that means that I'm no longer being constricted. And the reason I sent these guys to deal with him is they did the damage, and they baited out the hornets. So now I'm far away from the hornets, right? So I can order, you know, my dudes to attack, and I have plenty of time to do things like, check this out, Enslave Wand. They have bad MR. That actually didn't work. That's okay. We'll try again. That did work. He got charmed and moved this away. Now we're going to try to disintegrate this guy. He dies instantly. Just using stuff that targets their MR, basically. Do that again. Okay, now I'm not afraid of being paralyzed because my beasts are just running all over the place, running roughshod over this guy, and he's almost destroyed. So, we're just going to melee. Good stuff. Now bear in mind those hornets are real. They live in the branches or whatever, so they're not summons. If you kill the tree, the hornet will still be around. So just keep that in mind. Bog bodies have Bolt of Cold. It might behoove me to wear some RC Plus in this place, but I have so many hit points I don't really care, to be honest. But I might swap that on if the situation calls for it, if there's enough stuff. Amulet of Regen, I don't care. I'd rather have Reflection. Having more shields, this gives me +4 SH, is really, really good. This is pretty dangerous for many characters. Spriggan Rider's doing 27 damage pop. You know, 3 of them, that adds up pretty fast, but we just kind of kill them because trolls are beefy, albeit fragile. Alright, here's the second most dangerous enemy in Swamp, the Thorn Hunter. That volley of thorns... Oops, let me look him up. That volley of thorns does 3d18 damage, so 54 possible. He can also shoot these brambles behind you, so it's harder to run away. They are susceptible to fire. I'm not super worried about him. One of the reasons why I use a shield every game is to block bullshit like this. So the volley of thorns is not super likely to, actually super likely to damage me, as compared to somebody who doesn't have a shield. You can block that. So what we're gonna do, we see that he has some AC. Let's open up with a Wand of Acid. Do it again because the debuff didn't appear. Alright, well, I was trying to get a debuff on him that would take his AC down, and it didn't work. Now he's next to me, and he's in some water, so check this out. He's susceptible to flame. We're going to use the normally low damage flame wand, and in fact it hit and did no damage despite his vulnerability, but because he's in water, it created a steam cloud, which is cooking his goose, so to speak. I'm just going to melee him now with my big boy attacks, and he dies. So the idea is, like, my claws could have missed, but I opened up with the flame wand when he was next to me, and that meant that he was going to take damage every turn, which is just great. It's what you want. This game is all about kind of hedging your bets, assuming things are going to go badly. Wands of Flame are great for Swamp and Shoals, JF Karen says. That is true. Also, hello. How you doing, man? Alright, Louise is here. Watch out for her. The lightning bolt does good damage, and the banishment, of course, can send you to the abyss. Not me, because my MR is quite good. I'm not really afraid of her. We're going to back off, though, because I want to kill this swamp drake. Here we go. So under normal circumstances, you might see me doing things like making a bunch of boxes of beasts to deal with her. But as it stands, I don't really care. Her MR is too good, really, to use hexes on her, unless you want to vuln first, which is probably a bad idea, because then she'll just send you to the abyss, because you get vulned as well. I think we just melee her. I'm gonna try to curare her, but it's super unlikely to work because she has a shield. Even though I feel good about fighting her, I don't want to fight her with all these friends around. Check it out. Let's use Wand of Flame. Let's keep using Wand of Flame on this Hydra. He'll eventually die. He's getting cooked as well. Alright, check it out. I'm going to use Animate Dead. I know it's a 52% fail. I'm just going to do it anyway. And the reason is I wanted this Hydra corpse. So that is a big boy. And we just kind of fight in this kill hole, right? So we're going to order our guys to attack. And this Hydra is going to do 14 damage. It cuts it down a bit. It's 18 for a real Hydra. But 14 damage ahead. That's a lot, man. We're just going to attack. Let's wait. There we go. Hydra is attacking. Lot of attacks. We'll just melee her down. Whoa, big damage, big damage. She stone arrowed me. Yeah, so I'm not invulnerable. She actually rolled really high there, to be fair. That was a stone arrow of 3d20, and I think she did the full 60 damage. So this could go badly still, but we have heal wounds, so I'm just going to swing. I can't die right now. And she goes down. That would have been a different story, probably, if I didn't have that Hydra. And she was hoarding a Scroll of Remove Curse, which is super awesome for me. She also had a plate armor of fire resistance, and if I was somebody who didn't have a little bit of a weight problem, if I was not an obese troll, too fat to wear plate armor, you would see me pop this thing on and be very happy about it. This is, don't get confused, plate armor, if it has a resistance on it, especially fire resistance, that's a perfectly solid endgame piece of armor. Really quite good. Yeah, I could go for some wine as well, JF Karen and Wesley. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not really much of a drinker these days, but this is during coronavirus time, you know, not a whole lot to do. Although I really don't think I'd recommend drinking right now anyway, because it's like you're just depressing your immune system. But if you're under lockdown, you know, and you're not interacting with anyone and anything from the outside, I can't imagine it would hurt that much to have like one drink, you know. But all I have here is a bottle of Kraken spiced rum and a bottle of gin. But I do have some tonic water, so maybe I may have a little gin and tonic later tonight. That might be nice. That was my go-to drink back when I was a big drinker. Anyway, we've got Remove Curse here. Let's press A. Let's press Curse Item. Which of these would we rather curse? Well, I don't think I'm ever going to take off this MR+++. It's just incredible. So let's just curse that. And now we're partially bound in jewelry again. That means I have an amazing, like, 2 points of extra skill in some of this stuff. And now look, my spells are suddenly nice and castable again. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? Drinking sort of matches the mood. Yeah, I guess it would. I think we're going to see a national quarantine soon. That'll be interesting. Like, they're trying to downplay it like that's not going to happen, but I think we're either going to see a national quarantine or we're going to see, or a national lockdown, so to speak. I think we're either going to see that or we're going to see even more areas institute those kinds of policies, because you're going to have places like, you've already got places like California doing quarantines, you know. In New York, I think all of New York, not just New York City, I'd have to check. But I mean, if an area as big as California can be locked down, it's a matter of time until other areas are locked down. It's kind of hard to enforce, I would think, especially in rural areas. But I mean, I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. I think you're going to see, you know, like DUI checkpoints. You're going to see shit like that. Only it's going to be like, papers, please. We need to see your papers. Make sure that you're it's legal for you to go down the roadway to do anything. You know, I think that's where we're heading. And I don't think too many people are going to think about are going to question that, because it's like in a time of emergency, it's about saving lives, right? But it is kind of an interesting question of whether that's even constitutional. So, I don't know. Seems like kind of a sketchy precedent. I'm not saying it's like necessarily the wrong thing to do, and it feels like kind of a strange thing to quibble about right now, but I don't know. I mean, like, I always raise an eyebrow when I see the federal government doing things that kind of give them more power to control movement, you know. Anyway, we got this Thorn Hunter. Notice how I walked away. I waited for him to come to me. Now I'm going to step here. So while I'm on this land, I'm not missing attacks, which is something that happens when you're in shallow water. Although I think I might be immune to that because I'm a big troll. Yeah, rogue shenanigans. That's what I was thinking of exactly. Hard for the government to give back power once they've taken it. That would be the exact reason why I'm concerned. All right, same as before. We're going to acid this guy until he's next to me. He actually got the debuff, so his AC is lower. We're going to flame him, and by the way, that nuke on that debuff on his AC, that also helps for the flame to do damage. Look how much damage we did with the simple weak wand of flame. Burned terribly. Hell yeah! Now we just melee him. And remember, since he can do like 60 damage per turn to you, or a little less, you know, it's very important to take those fights cautiously. And to have a way out if they start to go badly. We've got a big stack of heal wounds. That's my general way out of those situations. Sadly, we have no blink, which would be the best way out. I'm going to make sure I kill the swamp dragon on land, because if he died on the deep water and dropped scales, that would be real unfortunate, wouldn't it? Okay, swamp dragon scales are here. Let's just see what that does to my defenses. I have to wonder. I bet the troll armor is better outside of the increased GDR. Alright, so I have 14 AC, 14 EV. My shield won't be affected. We wear this, we go to 14 AC, 13 EV, so we actually lose a point of evasion and we don't gain any AC because this troll leather armor comes pre-enchanted, because it came from a very special troll named Snorg. So, anyway, that makes me want to just wear the troll leather armor. We could enchant the swamp dragon scales and get an extra AC, and we could call that our endgame armor, but I'm going to be greedy. And this is one of those little choices that you make throughout the game of DCSS that really can make or break future parts of the game. For the time being, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to hoard my enchant armor scroll, hope I find more. I'm going to not enchant up the swamp dragon scale, and because I already have our poise, I don't really need to wear it. So we're going to basically hold out and hope we find either stat form or some kind of big boy dragon armor. Like I would take gold dragon scales. I guess I would take fire dragon scales. I would take ice dragon scales even on this guy, because we have RF plus. Ice dragon scales gives you RC plus plus and RF minus. So we'd be counteracting that. I would take Storm Dragon Scales, but I wouldn't be too happy about it because I've already got a really good source of Aralek from that ring that I'm wearing. It's really all about covering resistances and kind of planning your character out. Whoa, hello, alrighty. Big problem. Big problem. So this is Jorgren. Jorgren is one of the most dangerous uniques in the game these days. He was always pretty strong, I guess. He used to have Shatter. But now he has that Grasping Roots spell. The same thing that the tree guys, the Shambling Mangroves, have. He can petrify you, I don't have to worry about that. But he could just Grasping Roots me, hold me still, nerf my EV, and then just start shooting iron shots at me for a ton of damage. Clearly we don't want that. He's also got a dragon friend. What I'm going to do, I don't have a silence scroll. I wish I had a silence scroll, because that would let me turn off his spells and just beat the hell out of him. I don't have a blink scroll, so I can't just get away from him whenever I want. And even if I did, if I was grasping roots, it's considered constriction, so there would be a chance for the blink to fail. We do have teleport. That's guaranteed to work after a certain number of turns. And we do have a lot of heal wounds and other such things. I think what I'm actually going to do, because there's all this water around me and it's just really annoying. I mean, I could start walking away, okay? Oh, there's a ghost crab too. We don't want him to fight at the same time as this stuff. I could start walking away like this. Oh, hey, that was pretty cool. Jorgren got into the swamp dragon breath. Ah, damn, there's too much stuff. What I could do is I could hang out here. And I could make some buddies, you know? And if this oh yeah, fair point, Wesley. The teleport could just send you right next to the enemies. Trolls are immune to missing attacks due to water. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right. I had forgotten. Or I knew that was probably true, I just wasn't positive. Trolls are large size like ogres, so they still walk slowly in water, but they don't get the miss chance. Anyway, I got myself a mature Batfire Beast. That's good. Let's make another one. Tell them to run. Tell them to follow me now. And because this just is a lot of really ugly crap, I am going to burn resources. We're going to use the Wand of Clouds. All right, so I'll order my guys to attack. Jorgren switched places with the Swamp Dragon. Does he have more hit dice? That's weird. We'll look both of those guys up. I think they're only supposed to switch places if they have more hit dice. Holy shit, he has 15. And they only have 9. Okay. So Jorgren's in front now, so he can start LCSing me. He's nuked my EV a little bit with the constriction, and I'm taking damage every turn. How much damage does his Iron Shot actually do? 3d28, so he could kill me in 2 shots. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up a teleport, just in case things start going badly. Okay, we have about 3 turns or more to do stuff now. My Batfire and my Fire Sting Beasts are both breathing flame on him and just beating the hell out of him. But what could have happened there, the worst case scenario, both of those flames miss, and then Jorgren shoots an Iron Shot at me for max damage, and then I'm basically in killing range. And if that was the case, I would have started sucking down heal wounds like they were candy. And I would have had this tele working, so it would have run me, you know, hopefully somewhere away to a different part of the level. So it's all about being prepared for the worst case. To be honest, though, I probably shouldn't have taken this fight. Okay, the teleport kicked in unnecessarily, but I would rather use it and not need it than not use it and need it, you know? Because if you start teleporting after the hugest problems have developed, trust me, you're going to be very unhappy with the results, because it takes some time to kick in. But yeah, I really shouldn't have taken that fight, to be honest. I should have... Probably the right thing to do would have been to, like, okay, I saw this stuff over here. I'm going to walk away now. And just, like, go up to this staircase. Maybe drink a flight so I can move fast through the water. And then, like, dive to Swamp 3. But that was pretty damn likely to work. I was very unlikely to just die doing that. Okay, this is Swamp 3. Ooh. Alright, so I went up and I rested. I go up and rest again. Why am I doing that? Because when this fella breathes on me, the Spectral Cloud, he does negative energy damage, and then he also creates these spectral things, which are considered summons. They drain you when they attack you. I don't have any R negative, so this is really very obnoxious. I'm going to pull him up. His things will not follow me because they're summons, and after a time they will disappear, although I just killed him, so they disappeared very quickly. Are you taking the same approach to the coronavirus as I do with not taking risks in DCSS? Basically, I've stocked up on food and I'm not leaving my house. I have had groceries delivered a little bit for the last week or so, but I've been like spraying them with Lysol. I've been being pretty careful. Like I'm healthy. I'm relatively young. I'm not worried about like dying from the coronavirus, but in the worst case scenario, I am concerned that there will not be enough ventilators and things. You know, if I were worst case scenario to have to go to the hospital, I'm not rich enough to to get that first-rate politician treatment, you know? So I'm pretty sure I'd just fucking die if I were to get bad luck. So I'm not taking the chances. I mean, honestly, I'd rather... I mean, I'm okay with getting sick, but I want it to happen, like, after the crush is over, you know? The healthcare services crush. Alright, so here's by Susan. She summons Hydras. Big number of heads Hydras. When I get her to half hit points, she'll turn into some kind of wacky thunder dragon, so... I'm gonna go down, actually. Whoa, hello! There's a Hydra just right next to me. That's not the same Hydra. That's not a summoned Hydra, that's just a Hydra. I'm gonna read Telly, and I'm gonna go up. And I immediately jump over here. Basically, I just didn't want to deal with that particular unique, as well as other stuff at the same time. I wanted to deal with that from a better position, basically. So I don't mind using a telly to turn this situation less crappy. Okay, here's a Hydra. I cannot really outrun them. Remember, they attack and move faster in the water, right? So I think they attack faster in the water. Maybe they just swim quickly. Okay. I tell you what we're gonna do. Actually, we're gonna let him get in the water. We're gonna want to flame him. He's in the steam now, and to kill him, we're actually gonna use Vamp Drain. Oh god, how many attacks is he getting? That... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Vamp Drain's not doing it for me. There we go. That was a bit risky to fight him like that. I really need some more AC badly. But not enough. Not so badly that I'm willing to, you know, dump my only remove or my only enchant armor into it. Hey, wait, we found a remove curse. Check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and curse this other ring. This is great because this is gonna make my evocations way higher. It's gonna make the rest of my spells higher. It's gonna let me cast things a lot more reliably. Okay, so I don't want to be in melee with this Hornet that's coming up. What I could do, check this out. I could enslave him, or try. He resists. I get him. She's resistant to poison, but that doesn't make her immune to this Hornet. So it could very well just kill her. It could paralyze her. At the very least, it should slow her. So this is actually a pretty good opportunity. However, you know... She doesn't hit that hard, 24 plus Quarterstaff, Tail Slap for 14, but her Hydras, they hit hard. One thing you can do is you could try to enslave her Hydras. Nice little 41% chance. They'll kill her pretty fast. I could Vuln Scroll and simply paralyze her. I think we're going to do that. So we read Vulnerability. We're actually going to go up. This will get her summons away, but my Hornet will come with me because he's real. Notice how I have MR/2 right here, but who cares, you know? She doesn't have anything that can target my MR, and if I go and I try to paralyze her now, that's a 50% chance. She's paralyzed, and I'll just kill her, and she, at half hit points, she turns into a fierce dragon, and there's, you know, there's lightning around her. Whatever, dude. She's still paralyzed. We kill her. We'll attack our own Hornet, take him down. She did not leave any Storm Dragon scales. What a shame. If she leaves scales, because she's a unique, she can, you're a skeleton now. She'll leave, like, highly enchanted scales, kind of like these +3 troll leather armor, which you'll only get from either enchanting it yourself or killing a unique troll. So, unfortunately... we kind of got a little bit robbed. I would have probably worn that even, I would have probably turned that into my endgame armor just for the AC, even though I already have Arlek. just because I'm not gonna turn down free AC at that point. If it was like +4 or something, it would be pretty silly for me not to wear it. Storm Dragon Scale is essentially equivalent to plate, like 10 AC from plate, 18 encumbrance, 10 AC from storm, 15 encumbrance. It's like a less encumbering plate that also gives you Arlec. It's really quite nice. It's a shame that we didn't get it. Okay, we'll go down. Could I wear the protection ring and then swap to the Swamp Dragon scales? That would be cool. I'm pretty much more interested in having the rings that I've got, though. Like, Arlec is just really nice to have all the time. RF Plus is really nice to have. The int on this is actually meaningful on this very stupid troll, especially since I have -4 on this other ring. Under ordinary circumstances, though, you would probably see me doing a lot more swapping. Like, if I wasn't an Ashenzari character, I probably would have the +5 ring of protection on in favor of this, because there's really not much other than wisps that will spawn in Swamp that does electric damage. There's nothing that does fire damage, barring certain end vaults. So I wouldn't wear that. I would wear this for the Arpoise, although, actually, yeah, no, if this wasn't Ashenzari, if I didn't have this curse limitation, you'd see me take both these rings off. I would wear the +5 protection. I would wear this +4 protection from Lair, and I would wear the Storm Dragon scales, and I would just be a big beefy boy with big AC and Arpoise, and I wouldn't really give a damn about these other resistances for the time being, even the MR. Because, you know, there's nothing in Swamp that causes those kinds of problems. Just pull these things up one at a time. We're going to Stair Dance. But yeah, Ashenzari kind of makes me have to make long-term plays, unfortunately. But it's not really the end of the world. We're just playing with less AC than we'd like, you know? Which is ordinary, really. Nothing... Well, Louise, yeah, but she's not going to spawn in... That's a unique, you know. You can safely assume you won't run into anything that targets your MR except for uniques. And with uniques, I mean, you can use tactics to avoid getting owned by MR threats. Vampire Knights. Well, yeah, that's true. There is a new Swamp ending, and maybe we'll get to see it today. There is a new Swamp ending in Trunk made by Perpetual Blur, also known as Wise Wolf, who subbed to me yesterday. Thank you for that. And the theme of it is undead versus nature. And the idea is that you've got like a Redemnul altar, and then you've got a Fedhas altar. Oh man. Let's want to flame this guy, and let's vamp touch him to death. This will work way better this time, because my spell power is higher because of the Ashenzari help. Anyway, I asked him repeatedly not to put a Vampire Knight in there because it would be the first and only, you know, non-unique Swamp enemy that's an MR threat, but he put it in there anyway, disagreeing with me that it was kind of an obnoxious breach from tradition, I guess. Because the cool thing about... I think it's a really interesting choice, okay, that happens in this game, where you know, you know for a fact that you're not going to have to deal with MR threats for the most part, in Lair branches. And I don't want to see that going in a different direction, because, like, that's the interesting choice of, do I want to risk the MR threats in Orc? Or, oh, shit! Did I not go into Orc? I think I forgot to do Orc, guys. I did this in a very strange order, actually. Let me deal with this fight real quick. We're going to use clouds. We got a really good cloud fire, so this mangrove is less scary than I otherwise would be, considering him. We're going to acid wand. Unfortunately, ooh, that's really bad, actually. He did poop out a hornet. That's incredibly bad. We could get paralyzed. We have our poise, so it's less likely, but we could still get paralyzed by the hornet attacks. So I'm actually going to burn a fear, which is virtually guaranteed to work on hornets because their MR is so bad. Then we're going to just kill the mangrove. We're going to charm the hornet. He's my boy now. You guys, I think I completely forgot to do Orc. Amazing. Use Wand of Flame. cool. I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here yet. You know, this is silly. Let's go into Orc. So, if you don't have MR, that might have been a completely legitimate choice to go into Swamp before doing Orc. But because we know we have enough magic resistance to be immune to Orc Sorcerers, and we even have fire resistance to deal with their bolts of fire, and we basically have enough defense to deal with certain enemies like Orc Knights and Warlords and things like that, enough hit points that will survive no matter what happens, as long as I don't make mistakes, Orc was the right place to be. I should have done it right after I finished Dungeon, maybe even before. One of the reasons for that is, as I go through this place, there's a ton of gold, and there's going to be 4 shops. So I very much could have found some kind of item that would have made Swamp easier. It didn't. That kind of mistake didn't make a lot of difference for this character because he was already pretty strong, and he already had the tools needed to go to either of the branches and do well in them. But I could have done, you know, I could have done better, I think, to be an Orc first. I'm just kind of bowling through these things because none of it's a threat to the character. I'm going to go up here. Normally you would see me do my best to try to dig into these disconnected portions, and the reason is because if I didn't have enough MR, what could happen is I could pop up and immediately be paralyzed by a sorcerer or something. This guy is so strong, though, and has enough MR that I'm not worried. This is Urug, a unique Orc. He can throw javelins at me for a lot of damage, and those pass right through my shield because the devs of this game don't understand how shields or javelins work in real life. So we're just going to wait. That's a sorcerer, but basically what we're doing is we're running him out of javelins. We'll pull the sorcerer down. We'll kill him. Have I tried a bee-crawl troll? I don't think I've played a bee-crawl troll yet. How have they changed, Gary Burton? I'll just melee these guys. There were, in fact, sorcerers here, so I'm going to go back down, auto-explore, tab, tab, tab. These are all the wimpy little orcs we've already seen, so I really don't need to talk about them. Sorcerers, of course, you know, they have Bolt of Draining. They're the little guys in the red suits I was killing a minute ago. They can paralyze you, that's the big thing. They can summon minor demons, the most important of which, there's the Nekozek, which is a little pink guy who can mutate you and drain your intelligence. If your int goes to 0, you're paralyzed, so they can paralyze you in 2 ways, actually. They can also summon something called a 6 Furhy, which attacks really fast and moves really fast and hits you for electric damage. And if you don't have Arelec, and you probably won't at this point, it can be a real big threat. Urug is a female orc. No, Urug is a male orc, and then they made a big update to the game which changed the sexes of a bunch of uniques for political reasons, and I've always found that to be obnoxious, so I just don't go along with it. Whoa, that's a +6 Ring of Evasion. That's really cool. Come on, get over it. I will never get over it. Like, it's not that I don't... See, like, these people are so small-minded, because what they'll do is, if you complain about this kind of thing, they will try to say, well, you just don't want more female characters in the game, and they'll try to make you out to be sexist or something. But that's bullshit. I don't care if there's more female characters in the game. You know, it's not like anybody's bitching about Bai Susan, who was a new unique, by the way, who is a cool, like, female, like, priestess, like, good, interesting backstory. It's a great unique, you know, interesting design to the mechanics of it with the transformation. Nobody cares that she's female. What annoys the shit out of me is when you have a character you've been used to thinking of in a very certain way for years, and then as some kind of weird, like, slacktivist, you know, nonsense decision, you decide to change the sex. Almost always from male to female. And I just find it lazy. It's like the laziest kind of activism, you know? And I just want to play a game. And so, like, it's my tiny little, you know, my tiny little amount of sort of resistance to that. Don't retcon my video game for petty pseudo-progressive political reasons. That's a really good way to put it, Wesley. And so when you tell me to get over it, okay, bye. All right, get the fuck out. I don't care, dude. Leave. You know, I don't watch my stream if it bothers you that this annoys me, you know? Please, don't do it. Unfollow me. Get the fuck out. Not to be harsh, but I don't care. Drink piss, alright? So, alright, we've got, that's a perfect example of a total dickhead. Oh, you disagreed with me? Bye! Like, okay, be more elementary school. You know, I don't care if somebody disagrees with me. You can call me an asshole. You can disagree. If you think that I'm being a jerk about it, disagree with me. I'm not going to bail on something that I enjoy, like, you know, content that I enjoy because somebody has a difference of opinion with me, you know? And it's like, oh no, you disagreed, so now I've got to isolate myself from you. It is the most childish thing in the universe, and I probably shouldn't be ranting about this because this is this is going to be used as a tutorial, but it is really frustrating. And you see that more and more. People think that like a difference of opinion means that you've got to view the other guy as the devil, or you've got to avoid that person. It's just really tiring. Probably going to get banned from Twitch. Why? Like, maybe, who knows? But I mean, it's like, in this case, I'm being very careful about the way that I phrase this because you have to be, you know. But anyway, like here's a fun little vault. This is this layout of Orc. There's only a few layouts of Orc. This one has a little city of Orcs. It's kind of neat. You'll have these little rooms you gotta fight guys in. At the end of it, in this area, you will always find 2 Orc sorcerers. So if you're playing a character that is susceptible to paralyze, you haven't found enough MR yet, or you're susceptible to taking a lot of damage from Bolt of Fire, Bolt of Draining. We could take a lot of damage from Draining. You just need to be aware that this stuff is here and kind of handle it carefully. So I'm sort of carefully... Ouch. See, look, I'm taking a ton of damage, and I'm actually heavily drained now. What I kind of tried to do to minimize the amount of damage I was taking was hang out in this hallway, right? Now I'm in such a bad place that I'm going to burn Clouds. And he'll probably die. Actually, you know what I'll do? I can acid through this. Kill this sorcerer. Book of Power. Orb of Destruction. Okay. That stuff would be kind of neat if I was like a deep elf or something. In theory, I could use this iron shot, you know. Even though it's a level 6 spell and trolls are really dumb, I only have 10 intelligence and I have baby amounts of conjuration. All your Che guys use a lot from Book of Power. Well, Book of Power is amazing. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. I mean, if you just look at it, Bolt of Magma is kind of a joke, but Battle Sphere, unless they nerfed it, is quite nice. It shoots more damage at enemies as you're casting your spells, so it's like good turn economy. Iron Shot, of course, everybody knows Iron Shot, it does great damage. Orb of Destruction's sweet because it's one school and it can't miss. Well, it can miss, but it's more a function of like you cast it in the wrong direction or you got kind of unlucky. Nobody can evade it. They can block it with a shield though. And Spellforge Servitor is a little awkward to use because it's summonings and conjurations, but if you can get it online, it can do some fun things. Alrighty. Hey, this is that guy I was talking about. So, this is a High Priest. Like the Sorcerers, they can summon demons. The minor demons, which will still be pretty dangerous for usually for characters who are in Orc since it's relatively early. He hits for 15 damage, he deals an extra 13 electric damage. He's also extremely fast. They have kind of awkward movement though, so they will not exactly attack you as fast as you might expect. With that said, I gotta be a little bit careful of these dudes, even though I have Arlek, because, you know, I don't... See, look, a lot of damage is coming through with all this stuff. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back off. I'm not gonna outrun the 6 Furhy, but what I don't want is I don't want to be getting smited by all this crap, all the priests, the High Priest, and things like that. Look how hard he is to take down, goddamn. Alright, check it out. Orc Warlord. Watch out for these dudes, because sometimes they will have things like crossbows. He'll do range damage to you as well, so this one doesn't happen to have a ranged weapon, but they can, so don't assume that you can walk away from these dudes. Actually X over them. He does 32 damage plus Battle Axe, so Battle Axe does what, like 20 damage? 15, 45, 46, 47, so it's a lot of damage possible. However, his MR is not the best. Even though I'm drained and so my evocations is reduced, it's still a 37% chance to paralyze him. So we went ahead and did it, and we just kill him. Paralyze and other hexes are amazing ways to deal with warlords. Don't look at a 37% chance and think, well, that's below 50, so I'm not going to do it. It just means you have to use more charges. You know, it will eventually, in all likelihood, it will eventually work. Alright, so we go ahead and kill all these dudes. With this ending, by the way, with this sort of orc city layout, this part of it is where all the shops will be, and you're going to have a bunch of these little priest guys. I'm just kind of barreling in here and doing the damage, but many characters that have less hit points than a troll will probably not want to do that, because you can take 17 damage per turn from each priest or high priest from the smite, anywhere you are on the screen, regardless of if there's stuff between you and them. So, you know, we have the hit points to not care about that, really. We're just going to sort of slaughter this stuff. Many characters would instead want to pull this stuff back to the very convenient sort of hallways in this city. It's nice stuff. Right, auto-explore more. So the first shop we found was a weapon shop, and it wasn't really that useful to us. This shop has a tower shield of cold resist. Now that is just great. It also has this -3 kite shield with our corrosion, which is not as much of a joke as you might think. Obviously, I don't I don't want to have a -3 shield, but the corrosion, if that's the only source of corrosion resistance that I find, I might very well want to put that thing on when I go do slime. So that's a good thing to find. Ooh, boy. An Etten. Big damage. 45 plus 45 plus both weapons. You know, Curare works on them. Is it enough? Be careful, Ettins are one of the highest damage melee guys in the game, so you gotta be wary of them. There will be more of them down here, apparently. I had forgotten about that. We Curare him. We can survive another hit from him. There we go. If I didn't have Curare, you would have probably seen me burn some wand charges on that situation. Alrighty. Third shop, ancient weapon, I don't care. Oh, blinking. 2 stack of blinking, that's amazing. Immolation, I'll take that. Fun stuff you can do with that. A lot of wands, I like this. My god, I tell ya, whoever put these tremor stones in the game really wanted people to use them, because the spawn rate seems insane. There's 5 of them this game. Good god. Could just be weird luck, I guess. We're not using them. I almost want to buy that lightning rod now. It's actually at a little bit of a discount compared to the other stores. Well, we're gonna get scattershot. I see that I'm out of inventory space. So let's drop poison darts. Those are virtually useless to us now. Let's drop the dagger of venom. We don't need that anymore to kill hydras. Drop stones, drop bullets. Honestly, just drop the drop the swamp dragon scales. That's some inventory space. We're going to want the box of beasts eventually. I'll just go ahead and buy it, I guess. Want to save some money for these shields, especially the tower shield of cold resist, which is huge. Yeah, that'll be it for now. Now here's what's interesting. We could go ahead and grab that tower shield now. We have 3 remove curse. Let me finish this floor before I keep talking. Or before I make any long-term decisions. But basically, that tower shield, that's endgame. You know, that's well, formerly known as large shield. what you've got is you've got a large shield. That's the best, the highest SH in the game that you can get, right? So I could take this thing all the way up to +8 if I felt like it. So that's also a good place to put my enchant armors. But on top of that, it's got a resistance on it. So I pretty much know this is going to be useful forever, you know? Now, we've already burned some enchant armors on this basic shield, which is kind of a shame, but we can get... Oh, here's the other thing. Because I'm a troll, like, ordinarily as a normal-sized creature, you would need 25 skill to get this thing completely not slowing down your attacks or not messing with your magic. We only need to go to 15 because we're so big. So that's a really big bonus as well. So we really want to be wearing this thing. And honestly, like I was talking about slime earlier, and how I would really like to have the R core from this horrible shield, this other shield. But the reality is I'd rather have RC Plus, to be honest. And I would be able to switch around rings a little more easily and switch around resistances a little more easily if I wasn't worshipping Ash. But nevertheless, I feel pretty good about this shield right now. It's just, for the next, at least to the end of Swamp and the end of Spider, I know I want to have this tower shield on. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the decision that gets us further in the game easier and not worry about slime because that's a little ways off now. We're going to use Remove Curse. We can uncurse as many or as few things as we want. I'm going to stick with my jewelry. We're going to uncurse the shield. We're going to wear the tower shield. We're going to recurse the tower shield. Okay. And then we're going to train shields up to 15, but also, because that's cursed, we are getting a bonus, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff, and that shouldn't take too long to get there, even with -2 aptitude. We'll also enchant the tower shield, because, like I said, it's extremely unlikely that I'm going to find a large shield that is as good as this thing. It's not impossible. It could be like an artifact or something, but it's very, very, very rare, I would say. Okay, let's use Flame on this thing. Wait for me to take a little bit of damage. Just keep using the Flame Wand. Once I'm hurt, I can Vamp Drain and finish him off. Vamp Drain will not do anything. Vamp Drain will not do anything if you are not already hurt. We're back in Swamp. I just kind of took a detour and did Orc. I should have done Orc before I set foot in Swamp on this character due to the good resists, due to the magic resistance especially. A lot of high damage stuff here, so we'll pull this to the upstair. We'll do a little bit of stair dancing, just kind of tab the slime creatures. Whoa! Notice how these trees are pissed off at me because I went down and there was a druid. That'll do a ton of damage to me, so let's go up. They do not stay angry at you on the next floor. Although if the druid follows you, what can happen is he can just awaken the forest again. In fact, they may stay angry at you if the druid follows, but he's down there. I waited like 10 turns. I'm going to come back down. I guess the trees were still angry. Whoops. Okay, let's go back up. Let's kill this stuff. Let's wait. Let's wait another 100 turns by pressing 5. We go down. I guess waiting doesn't stop them from being angry. I guess you have to kill the druid or wait a certain amount of time while the trees and him are on the same floor. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Just pull him up. Alright, that's a question that's answered. If you pull up the druid, these guys stay angry. So we're... In an ideal situation, we would not be next to the trees while fighting him. We would kind of be standing maybe like right here, and he'd be somewhere else, because then the trees are doing nothing to me. But I just was able to melee him down. They've got a good memory. Yeah, I guess. Druids, don't underestimate the druids. Like, if I look up Spriggan Druid, you know, I talked about how, like, the Shambling Mangrove is really strong, and the Thorn Hunter is really strong, but weirdly enough, I think I would put Spriggan Druid as the number 3 slot for the most dangerous enemy in Swamp, because they do that forest thing, which is weird it has weird effects on your positioning, does a lot of damage. They have Stone Arrow, which just straight up does 54 damage to you, potentially. They have Druid's Call, so they can pull dangerous things from all over the level to just show up next to them. And then on top of that, you know, any animal that's around them when they die gets mited, and Hydras are animals, so it's pretty damn easy, to be honest, to underestimate them and then have a real bad problem afterwards. Can I just melee this thing, cut his heads off with my claws and not care? Yeah, I'm that strong, there we go. Once you are doing enough damage, you know, like, check this out, he's 7 heads, I can just attack him, honestly. And even though I'm cutting off heads and healing him a little bit every time I hit him, oh god, I don't want to fight 2 at once. I'll acid them so I can kill them quicker. That was super dangerous to fight so many at the same time. Check this out, baby. Lots of Hydra zombies. Oh, that was it. What a disappointing vault. I was actually hoping to see Wise Wolf's super tough Vampire Knight vault so I could kind of evaluate it firsthand on a real character rather than just kind of spitballing ideas, which is what I've done up to this point with him. I didn't even want to whiz mode it either because like I'm hoping to get a chance to play against it on a real character that I've had to build up, you know, from scratch, because there's a thing called whiz mode where you can just spawn whatever vault you want if you are playing single player. Did I update my game? Yeah, I updated my game, Adored. I was meaning to talk to you about that. You mentioned that you thought that they had changed Animate Dead to be like Animate Skeleton, where it only works directly on top of a corpse, but that is not my experience right now. Let's grab this Scroll of Vulnerability. Alrighty, so that's the floor. We have a rune. We have a rune. We can also go ahead and do Spider. And that'll close out, I think, both the stream and the mid-game. It's a good little stopping point. So, I mean, at this point, if we look at where we're supposed to go, there's really only a few options. Technically, Vaults is open to us now, but that's closer to endgame, especially Vaults 5. Slime is definitely not where we want to be yet. It's just, there's some tough stuff in there. We don't have our core easily, and, like, we could have our core and RC at the same time, but then we would be sacrificing other things. It just kind of sucks. And our MR is covered, but, you know, that's, basically, if we wanted to do Slime right now, we'd have to leave this ring on, take this ring off, switch this out for Ice, so that we have RC Plus, and then we would have to, then we'd have to wear that crappy our core shield. So I don't want to do that yet. Another option would be Elf. We'd probably do okay in Elf, but it's tough. There's, you know, unless I'm showboating, there's very rarely a good reason to do it before your lair branches. And then we've got Spider, which shouldn't really be that much tougher than Swamp if we're playing well and we don't get particularly unlucky. So, hey, mysteriously, thank you for the bits, my friend. Much appreciated.
A DCSS stream, thank God.
Come on, college boy. See, I changed out... It's funny, I changed out the subscription alert because Wise Wolf said he wouldn't sub to me if he had to see... I believe he called it cringy. But little does he know that the bits alert remains unchanged. And I'll probably keep it that way because I was extra motivated to change the sub alert because I used a song in it that, while it was a parody and was literally a man yelling into the microphone to the tune of a song, so like no question it's a parody, I kept getting copyright violations on my YouTube because you know, it's all automated basically, and it was just getting to be a headache. Hey, Uncursed Enchanted Cloak. +1 cloak, that's another point of AC, I'll take it. Alright, so I haven't really talked much about the enemies in here, but that's okay because every floor is basically the same. Unless you get unlucky and get a wide open one, or you're on the final floor. Alrighty, oh, hello! That is Roxanne. It looks like we'll probably be a stat form guy. So when you fight Roxanne, She will always have a book. After you kill her, it'll drop, and it will always have stat form in it, and sometimes it'll have other useful earth spells in it. If you're really lucky, you'll get stat form and Vol Clutch in the same book. The joke here is that she turned herself into a statue forever, accidentally. Spider Nest feels so linear. Yeah, kinda, yeah. She can't move. She can blink you closer to her. And if I look at her, she can do Crystal Spear for like 3d, 32, 90, 96 damage. So how do we want to take her out? Well, what I'm gonna do is I guess I don't have much throwing, but we're gonna grab these large rocks. See if there's anything else to throw. Javelins. Perhaps some of the DCSS devs could master that power. What power? Sorry, I got a little distracted because I'm looking for throwing stuff. The reason I'm grabbing this stuff is you're probably wondering, like, why am I gonna throw things at her when she can just blink me right next to her? Well, I am going to use lignification, which will turn me into a tree. Turning themselves into statues would probably be better for the game development. If a certain numbers of them, certain members of the dev team would just kind of turn to stone and stop doing commits. whoever's putting frozen ramparts into the game. All right, so we'll go to Spider Nest again. All right, so if you look at this broad, all right, on the edge of the line of sight, I pop lignification, which I have a good amount of. She can't blink me anymore. I'm totally immune to being moved. Bolt of Magma can't reach me, because you can see the range right here. It's not red on any of these except for blink other close, and that can't work on me. So she can't do a goddamn thing to me, and so I just throw stuff at her. Boom, 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 boom. Doing big boy damage despite my lack of, my sort of lack of throwing. Now this is a little annoying because there's a orb spider here. He has bad MR. Why don't we just enslave him real quick? Maybe we can get a nice orb of destruction on Roxanne. Let's see. So she's immune to magic basically. So we're gonna just keep throwing stuff. We're not gonna use wands. Oh, that orb's nice. I can throw boomerangs. And it, by the way, it keeps saying you feel a strange sense of stasis. Like she's trying her damnedest to teleport me, but she just can't do it, or to blink me. She crystal speared my spider. That's okay. Can't reach me. So this is going to take a really long time, I guess. She's almost dead, but the boomerangs don't have the big base damage of the large rocks. Oh man, are you going to make me use another tree? If we had more throwing, this would be better. Oh, we're not. Oh, wow. As soon as I turned not into a tree, she did this to me. That's okay. Let's back off. Okay, I'll go into this web. I will lignify again. Because I don't want to risk the big damage, do I? And there's nothing stopping me from just doing this forever, basically. Until I run out of lignify potions. Actually, let's queue the boomerangs, and then I can just press F and enter. Wow, she just doesn't want to take damage. Come on, I have 31 strength. I know I don't have much throwing skill, but there we go. Okay, Book of the Earth. Hate to play so many statue form games, but I mean, if the game's just going to give me that before it gives me body armor, this is probably the right thing to do. Especially on a troll that's not... Especially on a troll that's worshipping Ashenzari, you know, giving me the boost to spell skills. Alrighty, so, we'll go ahead and memorize statue form. Actually, we need to amnesia something first to get the spell levels. We're not really using slow, let's get rid of that. So, you know... 100% fail rate right now. It's going to be some time until we can cast that. The spells that the Book of Earth had were Lita's Liquefaction, Statue Form Shatter, and some other stuff that I already had. That's actually not a unique book, or a random Randart book. That's a preset one. Sometimes you'll get one of those, sometimes you'll get a Randart with various different spells that you would not ordinarily find together in a book. Statue form is what matters. We know that's a really good path to having high AC and high armor at the same time, and I have not yet trained any armor, so it makes sense for me to go in that direction since I found it. So what we'll do is we'll take Earth Magic to like 15, Transmutations to like 10. The disparity is because my aptitude on Earth Magic is lower than my aptitude on Transmutations, so the idea is that that's roughly going to keep these costs equal, because even right now when they're both untrained, the cost on Earth Magic is lower than the cost on Transmutations. And I'm going to keep training shields because that's impacting my spell castability as well. These orb spiders will run away from you and try to do their orb of destruction on you. No big deal. Just hex them or chase them down and they'll die. Ring of Resist Corrosion. We no longer need to worry about perhaps having to use that big dumb shield. Very happy about that. Of course, I'm going to need more Remove Curses, although I have 4, so that's good. We can switch our items around at this point if need be. I'm probably going to stick with the Troll Leather Armor forever, because the cool thing about that is with Stat Form, if I use Stat Form, it melds my body armor, right? But if I leave Stat Form, then I have the body armor again. So I'll have a little bit of AC, right? And I'll also have extra regeneration if I happen to be out of Stat Form. So this is really not a bad piece of equipment to be wearing. So if I still had that enchant armor, I could possibly wear that. Do I do turn count speedruns? On occasion I do, and I have been tempted to try to stream one of those. Oh god. Let's take these guys up. This dude can corrode the hell out of me. I have been tempted to stream that. The only thing that has really stopped me from doing that is because it takes so long to get anywhere because you're just playing so carefully. I feel like people might be bored, but I could do that if there was interest in it. I'd be happy to do it. All right, so watch out for these dudes. This yellow guy that I just killed. Entropic Weave, you know. Hit 4 times for 17 each. He just moves quickly. He hits hard and fast, and he can slam you with that corrosion from anywhere that he wants because it's smite targeted. It'd be interesting to talk through one. I think I have a thing on YouTube where I was recently sort of coaching Flood Killer through the first parts of a turn count run. But trust me, it wouldn't be, you say it would be interesting to talk through one, but it would be more like several games, because the problem with turn count is that you almost have to throw away dozens of games if you want to get anywhere close to a really good score, you know? Because it's all about taking these insane risks. I killed a torpor snail a minute ago. Those will show up in lair, but they also show up more regularly here. They'll slow you if they're on the board, so just be careful. This is a ghost moth. Usually he's invisible, but I can see invisible. He's going to drain my mana. I don't really care. You'll notice the one thing I did there was I stepped backwards while that Orb of Destruction was on the table. Okay, I took a step back, and the Orb of Destruction hit the ghost moth. So if you position carefully, you can sort of force the orb to hit someone who's not you, which of course is preferable. This was looking like a really ugly fight, so I charmed one wolf spider. Wolf spiders, believe it or not, are no joke. 55 hit points, they're fast, they hit for 25 damage, and then another 15, and then poison. So they're like little spider hydras, basically. They're really, really, really fast. The damage is no joke. Okay, here's the thing that's going to kill you. I promise you will die to this if you don't take it seriously. These guys generally show up in Zot, but they'll also show up here in Spider. These Moths of Wrath, they will berserk. They will berserk you if they bite you, and they can actually hit for okay damage, believe it or not, 25. But more importantly, just anywhere on the screen, they don't have to be next to the enemy. They can just berserk one of your other enemies. So the Wolf Spider, who starts out pretty tough, if he starts berserking, Suddenly he's hasted, he's mited, he's doing more damage, and he's doing it more quickly. So you'll very quickly have a problem. So it's like not something you wanna deal with. So if you see one of those guys, one tactic is to use fear on them. That'll make them run away, and you can kill some of the other stuff on the board. Another tactic is to simply hex them in some other way, like paralysis. You probably don't want to enslave them, although that is an option. The only problem is that they will bite your enemies, and I don't know if there's anything in place to stop them from just like biting a tarantella or a wolf spider, you know, and then berserking them anyway. So you probably want to go for like fear, paralysis, something that does a lot of damage to them really quickly. And by the way, these tarantellas confuse you sometimes when they bite you. If these guys get berserked, it can lead to what I would call, at that point, an unavoidable death. Because they will attack pretty fast naturally, right? But they attack even faster when they're berserked. So they very well could just like lock you in confusion. I don't have to worry about it because I'm worshipping Ashenzari, who makes me immune to confusion. But other characters, you might be sitting there drinking a curing potion, getting confused again immediately, drinking a curing potion, getting confused again immediately, and the cycle goes on. And it could be really, really bad. So, I've lost characters like that. There was a time when I was less good at the game, and I was streaking, but it was like a joke streak basically. It was not really as impressive as a real, you know, no repeat like difficult combo streak. It was mostly bullshit like DD5s and DDARs and things like that. And one of the times I was doing that, I actually lost a character that I had no business losing on, which was like, it was like a Deep Dwarf fighter or something. Because of that exact scenario, I was just perma-confused, and I didn't give the Moth of Wrath the respect that it deserves. So you'll notice I'm going up and down a lot. Generally, unless there's jumping spiders around, these guys, which there were a few, you can pretty much go up and down at your leisure if you have enough defenses. These guys can web you, so you got to be aware of that. But otherwise, I mean, if you have the defenses to survive a few hits, you can just kind of pull stuff up and down staircases here. But if you don't have enough defenses, it can be a problem. Wow, that is a strict upgrade. Yeah, I'll burn a couple remove curses for this. So we'll remove curse on the Amulet of Reflection. We will put this thing on, and so now we have the exact same amount of reflection, because that's +4. And another 4 strength. That's pretty good. I had to burn 2 remove curses for that, but I'm okay with that. If I wanted to remain fully bound. Oh, I let them step on a mark trap. So what we're going to do is we're going to beeline it for the staircase. We're going to rest, come back down. Now the rest of the floor is sort of still heading towards this location, but that's no problem because we've already cleared out most of the floor. Now these orbs are really orbiting me like a star. Ouch. Okay, whoa, now I gotta be careful. Those can do up to like 81 damage, so let's drink a heal wounds, just in case. And then we're gonna paralyze this asshole. We're gonna try to like 4 times at 59%, come on. Alright, so this guy's chasing me. I'm gonna try to move up and to the right. Unfortunately, it can be a bit unpredictable how these orbs move, so it didn't hit the jumping spider. That could have been cool. If you maneuver correctly, they can end up in this kind of tracking pattern where they orbit you forever. I wanted it to hit that, I wanted it to hit that ghost moth. I just reflected it. Alright, whatever. It eventually came back and hit me. That's fine. But yeah, they can do like 81 damage. They do more damage the longer that they've been moving, but it does cap out pretty quickly at 81, I believe, so just be aware of that. We just got a book, but I didn't see what was in it. And I guess it's somewhere up here. Oh, it's a book of changes. Okay, that's good. Let's get sticks to snakes. So this is a spell in the transmutation starter book, which is pure transmutations. It's really, really strong. It turns any arrows in your inventory into snakes. So we'll grab some arrows later. Oh god, this is too much stuff. Let's walk away. Remember that a lot of the stuff in here is faster than you, so this is honestly a situation I shouldn't have let myself get in, where I'm running away from stuff that does good damage and is faster than me, you know? Just grab these arrows. We'll grab more later. Sticks to snakes, you can think of it like, you remember you saw me casting this, summon butterflies, and I said it was a good way to sort of walk backwards through your allies and reset fights and whatnot. Sticks to snakes can be used in much the same way, except now you've got dudes that, you know, do damage for you. However, when your spell power is low, which mine is, you saw I cast it 3 times there and I got 1 snake apiece. Later on you can get like 4, maybe even like 5 snakes, and I tell you, you get enough snakes, you can kill just about anything in the game just with snakes, so it's really, really, really strong, believe it or not, especially for the spell level. Okay, we're going to kill this guy. We're going to get intelligence. We'll be getting intelligence on our levels up for the rest of the game. And there we go. That's Spider. Sometimes you will get a harder end vault than that. There's one in particular that you really need to watch out for that has like it kind of sort of looks like this, only there's a door in the way. And then inside of it you're going to see things like spark wasps, which we didn't see any of them this game, which is somewhat lucky. These guys do a shitload of electric damage and they can blink bolt right to you, and it's just a real disaster to fight them if you don't have Arlec. But they have low MR. You're going to see a couple of those in that one end vault that I'm talking about. You'll see some Maws of Wrath. You'll see some Ghost Maws. Like you'll see Emperor Scorpions, which were these big guys I was fighting, which, you know, 109 hit points, 30 damage, and then another 15 and another 15. Then berserked because of the Maws of Wrath. Pretty dangerous enemy. This is going to be a bit of a roadblock to you on some characters, killing these guys. Fun thing about playing a troll is, like, your claws are going to let you just rip right through them, especially if you train unarmed combat as heavily as I have. And look how high we already are because of Ashenzari. Almost 9 transmutations, 10 earth magic. We're getting there on shields to 15. 78% chance of failure in stat form. That's worlds better than 100% fail rate. Yeah, I feel really good. We've got Enchant Armor Scroll. I'm just going to keep enchanting the shield, actually. Maybe once that's done, we'll increase the Troll Leather Armor, which will cap out at 4. But we don't really need to do that just yet. It's better if I do the shield, because that'll stick around when I'm in statue form. So will this cloak, so I might enchant that, although it doesn't have a bonus on it, like, you know, this tower shield has cold resistance. The cloak could have MR or our poise, or it could cast invisibility for me. There's a lot of stuff that cloaks can have, so I'd rather not enchant one if I can avoid it, unless it has one of those benefits. But I mean, it's not a big deal if I do. AC is AC. It's nice to have AC. But yeah, we've got 2 runes. I would say this is where the mid game basically ends, and then we'd be entering the late game at this point, and we'd start thinking about some of the harder places to go, like vaults, elf, slime, and technically we could go to depths right now, although I never really recommend that. It's very rare that you would want to go into depths earlier than just about anything else. But anyway, that I think is going to be it for the stream. I kind of rocketed through that a little quickly, but I think I did an okay job of explaining some of the basic threats that you're going to encounter in those branches. And of course, I mean, your game is going to go differently because you may get shoals, you may get, what's the other one? You may get snake. You know, you may get different branches in Lair, and then you're going to have different threats to deal with. But basically, the troll deals with most of his threats in the same way, by attacking them and minimizing the number of turns that they spend approaching him so they can't do stuff to him at range, trying to kill things one-on-one where possible. Because, I mean, with the troll, you're going to win every one-on-one fight for the most part, because your claws are going to take care of it for you. And anything that is not the case for, you just use your resources for. So it's actually not too different from a normal character, just kind of more straightforward, I guess, because the claws are sort of a guaranteed endgame weapon. And then, of course, there's the complication of the armor slot being so limited, but we've kind of sidestepped that with stat form, or at least we will. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed, but until next time, I am signing out. Did you know that there are many ways that you can help support this channel? Read about them on rosecrypto.com/support. At Rose Crypto, you can learn all about cool things like the Brave web browser, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.